Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a world where noise surrounds us. We're constantly bombarded with sounds, voices, music, traffic, and a constant hum of technology. But have you ever noticed the power that silence holds? It's easy to overlook, to dismiss it as empty or dull. But silence is not empty. It holds power. It's in the quiet moments that we find clarity, peace, and sometimes the courage to change. In a world that pushes us to speak louder, to be seen, to be heard, silence can seem like a weakness. But in reality, silence is a strength. When we choose to embrace it, we open ourselves to a deeper understanding of who we are. Silence is not the absence of sound, but the presence of reflection, of stillness. It's in that space where we can truly hear ourselves, understand our emotions, and see the world with a clearer perspective. Silence has the ability to bring us back to what really matters. Silence is often misunderstood. In a world where constant communication is encouraged, people talk about being heard, about making noise. But what if the true power lies in the quiet? What if silence, rather than being a lack of something, is the presence of something much more valuable? In moments of silence, we find the space to understand ourselves. When we are not distracted by the noise of the world, we can hear our own thoughts clearly. We can listen to our hearts and understand what truly matters to us. It's in silence that we can take a step back from our busy lives and gain a clearer sense of who we are. We can ask ourselves important questions that we don't always make time to consider. What do I really want from life? What am I truly passionate about? What are my deepest fears? In the silence, we are not influenced by the opinions of others or the noise of external pressures. We can simply be with ourselves in our most authentic form. And it is through this connection with ourselves that we discover our true purpose and direction. Silence also gives us the chance to reflect on our past, our choices, and the lessons we've learned. It provides the space to evaluate where we've been and where we want to go. Too often we rush through life without taking a moment to reflect, to slow down, and to assess our path. But when we embrace silence, we can review our actions, acknowledge our mistakes, and celebrate our successes. It's in these quiet moments that we learn and grow, becoming better versions of ourselves. The beauty of silence lies in its ability to guide us towards self-discovery. In a world that demands answers, silence doesn't require us to have all the solution. It simply asks us to be present, to listen to ourselves, and to trust that the answers will come in their own time. Silence is not a void. It is a space for introspection, for understanding, and for clarity. When we choose silence, we are choosing to connect with our inner selves and to trust that we already have the wisdom within us to navigate life's challenges. Through silence, we also learn to embrace our emotions. In the midst of noise, it's easy to drown out our feelings, to push them aside in favor of productivity or external expectations. But silence gives us the space to feel, to process, and to understand our emotions. It helps us acknowledge our pain, our joy, and our fears, allowing us to deal with them in a healthy way. It's through silence that we can come to terms with our emotions and make peace with ourselves. Silence, therefore, is not something to fear. It's not an empty space. It's a space of opportunity, of growth, and of understanding. When we embrace silence, we allow ourselves the chance to truly know who we are. And when we know ourselves, we become empowered to create the life we desire. Silence has the power to change everything because it changes us first. It helps us grow, heal, and find the clarity we need to move forward with purpose and confidence. Silence has an incredible power when it comes to decision making. In a world filled with constant distractions and noise, making clear decisions can be difficult. We are often overwhelmed by the opinions of others, the pressure to act quickly, and the never-ending stream of information coming our way. But it is in moments of silence that we find the clarity needed to make choices that align with our true selves. When we are silent, we are able to step away from the chaos and take a breath. We can hear our own thoughts more clearly without being drowned out by external voices. In these quiet moments, we can think deeply and reflect on the options in front of us, weighing the pros and cons without being rushed. Silence gives us the space to consider the long-term consequences of our decisions, rather than making choices based on short-term pressures or fleeting emotions. Often we make decisions in the heat of the moment, reacting to situations without fully processing them. The noise around us can lead to impulsive choices that we later regret. Silence, however, offers a chance to pause. In that pause, we can reflect on the bigger picture. We can ask ourselves questions like, is this the right path for me? Or what will be the impact of this decision in the future? These questions are difficult to answer when we are surrounded by noise, but in the stillness, they come naturally. In silence, we connect with our intuition. Our inner voice, often drowned out by the noise of the world, speaks loudest when we allow ourselves the space to listen. That inner voice is our guide. It knows what is best for us, even when we are unsure or uncertain. When we choose silence, we create a safe space where we can hear that voice without distraction. And it is that voice that can help us navigate complex decisions, whether in our personal or professional life. Another benefit of silence in decision-making is that it allows us to separate our emotions from our thoughts. When we are caught up in a rush of feelings, fear, anger, excitement, it can cloud our judgment. We might make a decision based on how we feel in the moment, rather than what is truly best for us in the long run. Silence helps us to detach from our immediate emotions and approach decisions with a clear, level-headed perspective. It allows us to see things objectively, without the distortion that comes from being emotionally overwhelmed. Silence also enables us to better understand the situations we face. It provides an opportunity for deep reflection, giving us the time to think critically about our circumstances. When we are constantly bombarded with information and noise, it becomes difficult to make sense of things. We might miss important details, overlook key facts, or make assumptions based on incomplete information. But in silence, we can take a step back and assess things more thoroughly. We can gather the necessary facts, reflect on the situation from multiple angles, and make an informed decision that is based on a comprehensive understanding of what is at stake. In decision-making, silence fosters patience. It reminds us that not every choice needs to be made immediately. Often the best decisions come when we allow ourselves the time to think, to reflect, and to wait for the right moment. Silence teaches us to trust the process and trust that answers will come when the time is right. In a world that encourages quick fixes and instant gratification, silence teaches us the value of patience, helping us resist the urge to rush into decisions that we may later regret. In addition, silence can also help us manage external pressure. In situations where others are pushing us to make a decision quickly, silence allows us to hold firm and not be swayed by outside influences. When everyone else is talking and the pressure mounts, it's easy to lose sight of what we truly want or need. Silence, however, allows us to regain control over the situation. It gives us the ability to tune out the noise and focus on what truly matters, ensuring that our decisions are aligned with our values and goals. Making decisions in silence doesn't mean avoiding responsibility or ignoring the needs of others. It simply means giving ourselves the space to make decisions that are thoughtful, intentional, and true to who we are. Silence allows us to listen to our own hearts, trust our instincts, and make choices that will lead us to a place of greater fulfillment and peace. It is a practice that can guide us through the noise of life, helping us to make choices that resonate deeply with our true self. Silence is not only a powerful tool for reflection, but it also has the remarkable ability to heal. In a world that is constantly moving, where we are bombarded with noise, distractions, and the endless demands of daily life, silence offers us a refuge. It provides a space for rest and recovery, not just physically but emotionally and mentally as well. In the stillness, we can find the healing we so desperately need. When we are surrounded by the noise of the world, it becomes easy to ignore our own emotional needs. We might brush aside feelings of sadness, stress, or anxiety, convincing ourselves that we simply do not have time to address them. Yet it is in moments of silence that we can allow ourselves to feel fully. Silence allows us to sit with our emotions without judgment or interruption. In the quiet, we have the opportunity to confront our pain, to acknowledge our fears, and to understand the emotions we are experiencing. Without the pressure to keep going or to push our feelings aside, we can give ourselves the space to heal. Healing requires acknowledgement. We cannot heal what we do not acknowledge. Often in the rush of daily life, we suppress our feelings, thinking that if we ignore them long enough, they will go away. But this is far from the truth. Unresolved emotions build up over time and can lead to stress, burnout, or even physical illness. Silence helps us confront these emotions. It gives us a moment to pause, breathe, and ask ourselves what we are truly feeling. By acknowledging our pain or discomfort, we give ourselves permission to begin the process of healing. Silence in this way becomes a powerful tool for emotional release. In addition to emotional healing, silence also allows us to heal mentally. We live in a fast-paced world where our minds are constantly racing. We are bombarded with information from every angle: social media, work demands, family obligations, and more. It can be exhausting to keep up with the constant flow of information. Our minds need a break, a chance to rest and recover. Silence provides that much-needed mental rest. It gives our minds a chance to reset, to release the clutter and confusion, and to focus on the present moment. In these moments of silence, we can regain clarity and perspective. Our minds are no longer clouded by the noise of the world, and we can think more clearly and rationally. Moreover, silence helps us to reconnect with our inner self. When we are constantly busy, we can lose touch with who we are, what we truly want, and what we need to feel fulfilled. We get caught up in external expectations, the opinions of others, and societal pressures. But silence offers a way to return to our true self. In the quiet, we can reflect on our lives, reassess our goals, and realign ourselves with our purpose. It is in these moments of stillness that we can hear our inner voice more clearly. We can rediscover our passions, our values, and our desires. Silence, in this sense, becomes a tool for personal growth and self-awareness. Healing also requires forgiveness, and silence can help facilitate that process. Holding on to anger, resentment, or regret can weigh us down emotionally. These feelings can fester and prevent us from moving forward in life. Silence gives us the opportunity to let go. In the quiet, we can reflect on past hurts, acknowledge our feelings, and when we are ready, let go of the negative emotions that are holding us back. By offering ourselves the gift of silence, we create a space in which we can forgive not only others, but ourselves as well. Silence becomes a path to emotional freedom, allowing us to release the burdens that we have carried for so long. In times of grief or loss, silence also plays an essential role in the healing process. After the passing of a loved one or the end of a significant relationship, we often find ourselves in a state of emotional turmoil. We might feel overwhelmed by sadness, confusion, or even anger. In these times, silence can provide comfort. It offers a quiet space where we can process our grief without the pressure to act or speak. We do not have to explain ourselves or justify our emotions in moments of silence. We can simply sit with our feelings and allow them to flow through us, knowing that healing takes time. Silence becomes a sanctuary in which we can grieve, mourn, and begin to heal at our own pace. Silence also allows us to build resilience. By facing our pain, sitting with our emotions, and allowing ourselves the time to heal, we grow stronger. Silence teaches us to embrace our vulnerability and to trust in the healing process. It helps us to understand that healing is not linear, that it takes time, and that it's okay to not have all the answers immediately. Silence becomes a powerful ally in the journey toward healing, offering us the space we need to mend emotionally, mentally, and physically. In essence, silence is a healing force that restores our minds, bodies, and spirits. It allows us to confront our emotions, find clarity, and reconnect with ourselves. It helps us release pain, practice forgiveness, and build resilience. In a world filled with noise, silence offers us the peace and the time we need to heal. Silence is a powerful catalyst for self-awareness and growth. In our noisy world, it can be challenging to hear ourselves amidst the constant influx of information, the endless chatter, and the external pressures that shape our lives. We often get caught up in the rush of daily activities, responding to the demands of others, and fulfilling the expectations placed upon us. But in silence, we find the space to reconnect with our inner selves, to reflect on our thoughts, feelings, and actions, and to gain clarity on who we are and where we want to go. Self-awareness is the foundation of personal growth. Without it, we are like a ship adrift at sea, without a clear sense of direction or purpose. We might go through the motions of life, but we aren't fully present or engaged. Silence provides the opportunity to pause and look inward. It allows us to examine our thoughts and feelings without distractions, to identify patterns in our behavior, and to become aware of the ways in which we might be limiting ourselves. It is in silence that we can ask ourselves the tough questions. What do I really want from life? What are my fears? What are my strengths and weaknesses? By reflecting on these questions in a quiet, unhurried space, we gain a deeper understanding of ourselves. In silence, we are able to shed the external noise that influences our decisions and actions. So much of our behavior is shaped by the expectations and opinions of others. We are constantly bombarded by societal norms, family expectations, and cultural messages that tell us who we should be, what we should do, and how we should think. Silence helps us disconnect from these external influences and tune into our true selves. It gives us the space to listen to our own desires and aspirations, free from the pressure to conform to the ideas of others.